You know, Khalid ibn Walid says that he mentions this, that he had a chance to kill Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Yes.
He had a chance to kill because he seen Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam prayers. And Hazrat Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam, and this is very important for everybody to listen, that Hazrat Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam came to Rasulullah sallam, and then he was told to do Salatul Khawf.
Yes.
Now Salatul Khawf, and this we need to learn from this. Namaz was not exempt even at the time of battle.
Time of war, yes.
So, you know, this is a lesson for all of us, that, you know, we think, oh, we could miss namaz, slight headache, this. You know how they had to read namaz, salah, even at the time of war. At this, well, this was even war, but this was Salatul Khawf. The Imam would read, and there will be one line of companions, and they would join the first rakat. Okay, so there's the Imam standing, and there's a line, just say 4 companions, right? And the other 4, I'm just giving a number of 4. The 4 would be reading behind the Imam, and the other 4 will be watching out.
Every rakat they would alternate.
Yeah. And when they've done the first rakat, these 4 will go and watch, and the other 4 will come and read their first rakat.
Yes.
Like that, they had to read namaz. It's called Salatul Khawf. So, which means even salah
was not exempt.
Was not exempt even at that time of battle. So, which means we always must read our salah.
So
we must always, no matter if it's the slightest headache, you know, if through ishara, whichever way, however way, we should complete our salah. If at that time, if it wasn't forgiven or exempt, then that means namaz is never
exempt. You should always read your salah.
Always read it, whichever way, however way we should read it, even if it's through ishara if we can't do it, but we should always read it, and we should never ever neglect our salah.
Yes.
So Khalid ibn Walid, obviously then, because this was commanded to Rasulullah, he had no chance to kill Rasulullah.
Before that, they used to read namaz as a jama'ah. He would have easily got a chance to maybe shoot an arrow or anything, something like that.
So now Suhail ibn Amr, this one of the ambassadors or spokesmen of Quraysh, comes in, and now they want to make a negotiation.
Yes.
They want to write a treaty with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this guy was, he's a mischief man. Prophet said, write Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
Yes.
And he refused to write Bismillah ar-Rahman because he doesn't believe that Allah is merciful.
Yes. And he didn't want to write Ya Rasulullah.
And he didn't want to write Muhammad Rasulullah. He doesn't believe Rasulullah to be Prophet, so he said, write Muhammad ibn Abdullah.
And when the Prophet said, okay, take it off, the Sahabis, they didn't want to. They go, no, how can we do that?
The companions were, Hazrat Umar was outraged.
Yes.
Hazrat Umar was really upset. So now the treaty is being written. So there was many conditions. One was that they can't do Umrah this year.
Yes.
They must go back.
And the treaty, when in hindsight, it seemed like it was for the Muslims. The treaty was really on the bad side for the
unfair
for the Muslims.
Biased.
Sorry, really biased towards the Muslim. And for the Quraysh, it was really, really good. Everything was in the treaty. In hindsight, it seemed really good.
Everything was in favor of Quraysh.
Yep.
And when you read the treaty, and everything was really against the Muslims, because they had to return back with all the animals. They had to go back to Medina. They can't do Umrah this year. They could come next year. Then if anybody becomes a Muslim in Medina,
Makkah, they won't send them back.
If anybody becomes Muslim in Medina, they can come to Makkah. But if somebody becomes Muslim in Makkah, they can't go unless the guardian authorizes. They can't go to Makkah, Medina. So there were so many things that they wrote in this, and Rasulullah accepted it. Now Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala was really upset.
Yes.
And even asked Rasulullah, Ya Rasulullah, isn't this religion true? Aren't you the Prophet of Allah?
Why do we have to listen to this?
So Prophet explained to Hazrat Umar, don't worry, Allah said it's going to give us victory.
Yeah.
So Hazrat Umar also went to Hazrat Abu Bakr, and he's telling, Hazrat Abu Bakr, come on, what's going on? Not because he was against Rasul, he was just so angry that how dare they do this to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. How dare they mistreat Rasulullah? How dare they try to belittle Rasulullah?
That was the love in it. That was the love.
Subhanallah. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam agreed to the treaty. He signed the treaty, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam accepted to go back to Medina. But they did sacrifice the animals. They did shave the hair.
Yes.
Right? And when they were going back to Medina, at that point Allah revealed the Surah Fath.
Subhanallah.
Huh?
Subhanallah. there was a story there as well when Umar radiallahu anhu came and did salam to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't reply. They were on a camel ride, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't reply, and then he did salam again, and he didn't reply again, and then he did salam for the third time, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't reply the third time. So Umar radiallahu anhu, he just went to their back and thinking, what have I done? And he, now the whole world fell on his head. He's thinking, what's going on? Or the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam not replying to my salam. But after a bit, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam called. He told someone to call Umar radiallahu anhu, and when Umar radiallahu anhu came, he seen the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam with a very big smile, and then he goes to Umar radiallahu anhu that Allah has given us victory through this Hudaibiyyah.
Subhanallah.
It's the biggest victory. Subhanallah. When Umar radiallahu anhu heard that Allah is saying this is a victory, then Subhanallah, it must be, it is a victory, because what they thought was all this time was wrong, and from there obviously it started.
And which Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, with the revelation of the where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us that He will gain victory, right? This was actually, scholars say, this was paving the way to Fatah Makkah.
Subhanallah.
Yeah.
For
So
sure.
it just shows patience. Rasulullah, I mean, sometimes things happen, and we think, no, this is wrong, but there's always, when there's good khair in it.
We don't see it, obviously, we don't see it, but there's always khair in these things.
I don't know how, if we passed out 10 minutes, producer Sahab is not even giving us no ishara today. So should we continue or just wrap it up?
MashaAllah.
But read about Hudaibiyyah, read about it. We've just said it briefly, but
yes,
read about
as
it.
we always say, guys.
And there's so much more, how Khalid ibn al-Walid later accepts Islam, and there's so many things.
There's so many major points left behind, but you can't cover everything in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Remember that, guys.
Yeah, so our job is to try to give you guys the basic, storyline, and your jobs are to go back and read about the Seerah, and you will see how the Seerah changes our lives. It'll bring a massive change in our life, and I promise you this, it will be the most positive change of our lives. So inshallah, we hope through this series we benefit and you also benefit.
Inshallah.
Ustad Abdullah, should we wrap it up?
Sure.
Till I see you again, I don't know when.
Inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.